Welcome back to Tabletop Titans for an epic discussion about Age of Sigmar. My name is Adrian, and of course I'll be your host for the next hour or so as we discuss how to make lists in Age of Sigmar. Welcome everybody into chat. Of course, we're going to make this a live discussion as always. I am frankly just here because I'm really excited about Age of Sigmar. This was not in the schedule for the week, obviously, but I can't wait until Monday to talk about it. So here we are. We've had most of the faction packs be released. We are still waiting on order, I believe, but we can talk about them. We just can't pull them up for everyone to see. So what I want to do today is talk about how list creation works in Age of Sigmar, as well as walk through some of the faction packs, get some thoughts from people. There's definitely lots of opinions about what's good, what's not good. The fun part is we don't all, and nobody truly knows because there hasn't obviously been many games played. So we'll be doing that, and then we may be working on some lists ourselves. Let's see how the stream is looking. Looks like we're up and ready to roll. And yep. Oh, all of them are out. Okay, cool. So order did come out now. Perfect. Excellent. So we can talk about everything. Points, of course, have already been released as well. So you can all reference this. It's going to make this discussion much easier. And I want to hear your opinions. Of course, this is early days. I am only a few days ahead of y'all. So, yeah, welcome in. Let me know what factions you're excited about in the chat below, and let me know if you see any issues. Obviously, I'm in a different setup today, so there's always the potential for technical difficulties. But yeah, welcome Darius. What's up, Mini Maher, Roxfall, Docmel, Will I Really Am, Akshork. What is up, everybody? Cool. Well, with that, Nurgle is looking good. I'm very excited. I do want to talk about Nurgle. I really want to talk about Magican because I've been hearing a lot of requests for that. So that's cool. This is in fact live. Jonathan, what is up? All right, cool. So I guess let's just dive on in. First of all, we're going to talk about how do you actually make a list in Age of Sigmar. So let's go ahead and take a look. Well, we've got ye old Games Workshop website right here. And I want to kind of walk through because there's a lot of information out there in a lot of different places. And frankly, there's stuff that we're still just figuring out now. So what I want to do first is in the main rules document, they do a decent job of laying it out. They kind of shorthand some of the stuff, but overall, it's not bad. So let's go through it. Generally speaking, we're going to be talking about 2,000 point games here. This is kind of a standard game size, always has been, probably always will be. So that's that. Then you go ahead and pick your faction. Cool. In this case, they're saying Stormcast because obviously they're using Stormcast. Then you pick your battle formation, which is for your 40k players, kind of like your chapter tactic. This is your sub faction from previous editions. And I believe all of the armies have 4 to pick from. And that you will pick in list creation, and that will affect your army. Generally speaking, they only really benefit from one subtype of unit. That'll depend faction to faction. You can take units that don't benefit from it, obviously, but it's kind of like, what is the main thing you're trying to focus on, or where is the biggest benefit you're going to get? So you do that. Then we get to regiments. Regiments are the way that we build our armies fundamentally. I'll say you basically want everything to fit inside of a regiment. They are going to allow you to take units with characters that are generally speaking aligned with them. So what does that mean? Well, let's take a look. I want to pull up the battle profiles. So let's take a look at which one should we do? Oh, thank you, Will I Am, for the super chat. This is just to say you're a legend. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Cheers. And what is up, Liam Dempsey and the Great Hall? Welcome everybody in chat. The little pop-up is like completely white, so it's really hard to read. But welcome everybody. Thanks so much. Excited for Cruel Boy. Can you make me a list and check it twice for Space Lizards? We can talk about Space Lizards. So I'm seeing Space Lizards, Sylvanath, Magickin. SOB, love it. Bridger will be happy about that. What's up, Kaldorf? Okay, cool. So let's do this. Let's go to. You can never read the raid box. Yeah, I haven't seen the raid box for forever. Hey, Adrian, write me a list for Liam. What is up, everybody? Here they come. Welcome, everybody. Hopefully you had a great time hanging out with Liam. I know he had a fantastic this week and got to hang out with John McCardle, so I'm a little bit jealous about that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, cool. More lizards, more Skaven, big orcs. I love it. So many gray names. I know we got to get some memberships going in here. I love it. I can do a list for the weekly shopping for sure. Yeah, no problem. No problem. All right, cool. Let's see. I think we are getting a lot of requests for Seraphon, so let's go ahead and pull that up. Beep, beep, beep. I think I might have already skipped them, honestly. Gits. Oh, my beloved Gits. Cruel Boys, Ogre Maw Tribes. Yeah, they're up near the top. So this is appropriate because we actually are going to play Seraphon again for the second time on Monday. It's going to be Lindsay back with them. Seraphon, here we go. So you can see broadly we're broken down into two sections here. We have heroes and we have non-heroes. There they are, the gifted memberships. Thank you. 10 gifted memberships from Elijah D. Prophet. Thank you. As always, welcome Pritters to Captain. Check out that behind the scenes content, members content. And thank you, Just Jupiter, the most consistent thing in our lives. 5 gifted memberships. What is up? And Mike the Rhino marking themselves as sniper bait. So let's get Mike the Rhino as a member. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it so much. Big hearts in chat. And welcome everybody from the Great Hall. Awesome. So as I was saying, we've got heroes, non-heroes. Basically what happens is you take a hero. That's the base of your regiment. Then you can take up to 3 non-hero units to fill up your regiment. So we've got that right here as well. You can have up to 5 of these regiments per army, and each regiment has a hero and up to 3 non-heroes. If this is your general's regiment, you can have 1 extra non-hero. And we'll talk about what you might want to do with that. Big shout out to Robin Ellis for a gifted Tabletop Titans membership and a gifted membership from Mini Maher themselves. Appreciate all that love and support. What's up, Shane? Someone 1999 excited to play Gits. I'm excited for Gits. There's a lot of negativity right now on the internet about Gits, which I understand. As always with a new edition / new game, we got to be careful to not compare to what things were before. Some armies have fundamentally changed. And welcome, Carl of Haji. Thank you for gifting a Tabletop Titans membership. Love it. Will I Really Am for the super chat says you can make a corn list with 4 models. So pricey. Oh my god. Yeah, Korn, a lot of chaos is very, very elite. You know, Lil B is working on his Slaves to the Darkness. Archeon's like 840 points. It is ridiculous. So, 1 hero, 3 non-heroes. You can have 1 more if it's your general's regiment. Now, there's 2 things to consider when you're doing this. 1, you can have more units in that regiment. That's great from some perspectives because remember, in Sigmar, whoever finishes deploying first gets to choose who goes first. And when deploying a regiment, you can deploy the entire regiment at once. So there really is this race to see who can get the lowest number of drops and finish deploying first. So that's valuable from that perspective. However, there's other things. Of course, there is literally a battle tactic that is kill a unit in your enemy general's regiment. So the more things you have in that regiment, the easier and tastier that option is. So that's a pretty big disincentive. So generally what I try to do in my list building is I'll try to minimize the number of units in my general's regiment unless it's really worth getting a lower drop rate. But 1 unit you always want to have in your general's regiment is the one that's going to be your honor guard. This is this season's ability, and you can make them better offensively, you can make them better defensively, or you can make them just better against enemy regiment units. And so you want to pick 1 beater unit to be good at this. That's be a non-hero. So this is maybe your big fast cavalry unit or your elite infantry. Just 1 special unit in there. And you got to kind of balance those things. I did get some clarification in the latest documents about abilities for extra heroes. And let's talk about that. So in here, you can see, for example, generally speaking, characters are matched to types of units. So for example, a Ripperdactyl Chief, well, let's do the Saurus Astrolith. Let's do Saurus Oldblood. So Saurus Oldblood, we've got the points, the unit size, the point size, base size, which I love. And then they say what he can take in his regiment. And he can take any Saurus. So nothing that doesn't have the Saurus keyword. Cool. So really they match. Then you can also have up to 1 favored spawning. And this is a little bit weird when you first look at it. You're like, what the heck is a favorite spawning? They just define it on the right here. So For Seraphon, it's favorite spawning. For Gitz, it's Moon Clan Agitator. It is officers for guild officers for Karajan. Everyone has their own keyword, but it's basically the same idea. It says, here's an extra character you can add without having to make a new regiment around them, which is nice. So you can see here the Saurus Astrolith Bearer. This hero can join an eligible regiment as a favored spawning. So you can say, okay, Saurus Wholeblood, any Saurus, and you can also take him, which is normally a hero. Now, what they do clarify in the FAQ documents is when this character joins as a favorite spawning, they then count as one of these non-hero units, which was kind of unclear without the FAQ. So where's that other one? So just keep in mind, that's going to count as one of your 3 or your 4 slots. So, yeah, Darius said some heroes can join as little buddies, which is a good way to put it. What's a lizard man? I only know space. Look, I'm gonna say lizard men probably a lot during Age of Sigmar, so I feel you. Love it. All right. Mike the Rhino excited for Trogoths. Yes, I have my Trogoth list is exactly 2K on the dot. I know Yusuf has the same list. It's gonna be a dope. Beautiful. It's me, Seppi says, I hope they expand the extra heroes because some armies naturally rely on heroes fairly heavily, but I also don't want it to be like 40k with the core keyword in 9th where it winds up everywhere. Absolutely agree. I think there's a lot to be determined where in terms of like, how are you supposed to be building your regiments? Do you need to go wide? What is the average number of regiments in a competitive army? Because some factions really want a lot of characters. I know Bridger, who played Fireslayers on Monday, he ended up with like 4 regiments. He wanted to go to 5. And that's a lot. Frankly, once you've hit a certain number of regiments, you almost might as well just continue because you've already lost the benefit of going first. So you might as well get the benefit of having more characters if that's the thing that you want. So that is that fundamental aspect. I will note, of course, you have some of these like super characters like Lord Croak that can take any Seraphon. There's generally 1 or 2 of these per faction as well. So again, Gitz, you can have the King, and he can take any Gloomspite. So down here, of course, this is your units, and it's kind of more self-explanatory, right? Any Saurus, and this tells you which units have which keyword, basically. So you can see Saurus, Kink, Monster, all that stuff. Reinforcing, so adding to squads, making them bigger. It's very simple now. You just double the points, and you get double the models. Just keep an eye out on units that say you cannot reinforce. So for example, this is the Hunters of Huanchi, which was that Warcry box. You can't reinforce it, so they just are what they are. Yeah, keep that in mind. Cool. Great question, Mr. Morden. Yeah, so heroes are in red, regular unit, non-heroes are in blue. So you pick one of these to lead a regiment, and then you fill it with these units. Yeah, when we first printed these out, our printer ran out of ink, and so you also couldn't see the lines between, and it made this very hard to read. But I love this formatting, generally speaking. Yep. It's me, Seppi says, if you get the GHB cards from Skaven, do you not need the actual GHB, or is there important info on the actual book that isn't in the cards? Great question. The cards cover just about everything. So they give you the missions, they give you the layouts, they give you most or all of the rules, honestly. So off the top of my head, Seppi, I can't think of something that you absolutely need from there. Maybe the Honor Guard page. I don't remember seeing that in there. Yeah. Cool. Hopefully that's helpful. Let's move on. So that's the fundamental. Then there's this. There's manifestations, there's spells, there's prayers. It's confusing at first, but they've kept it simple. You get to pick 1 manifestation lore, 1 spell lore, 1 prayer lore. Basically, whatever lores you have, you get to pick 1 of that. Most armies will only have 1 of each. If you're a spell casting kind of faction, such as Seraphon or Disciples of Tzeentch, you're going to have a couple options. So you pick 1. All your wizards will know your all your spell lores and manifestations if they're spell manifestations, and all your priests will know your prayer lore. So just pick 1. They all know all those spells. So it keeps it nice and simple. Sometimes they'll have an extra spell on their War Scroll, and then they can know that as individually. But generally speaking, everyone knows all the spells, and you cannot repeat them unless they have the unlimited keyword, which is usually 1 of those spells per lore. Where are the manifestations anyway? Are they in GHB? Don't see them elsewhere. Yes, so the manifestations are in the General's Handbook. What they've done is they have organized them into sets of 3, basically. So the Incarnate is one. If you study the manifestation of... I forget what it is, whatever the Incarnate is, that's the only spell in that lore. But then it's like the other 3. So it's groups of 3, basically. So, Purple Sun and 2 others, Cogs and 2 others. I can't remember the rest, all those kinds of things. So they've kind of broken up all the general ones, and you can pick from that. This is something I also want to mention. In the rules, when they talk about spells, they mention Mystic Shield or Arcane Bolt, I forget which one. Those don't exist as generic spells anymore. There are no generic spells or prayers. It's all part of these lores. It was just an unfortunate example. Some army in the game, I think it's Stormcast, actually has Mystic Shield or Arcane Bolt, but there's no generic one to take from. So if you're a previous Age of Sigmar player, that might be a bit confusing. Cool. Next up, let's take a look at, did that. If you are more than 50 points below, so if you're playing 2K and you end up at 1950 or less, you can get 1 CP at the start of the game. It's a small bonus. Generally, you want to try to avoid it, but with Sigmar, it's all big chunks of points, so sometimes that's just the way it is, I think the last list I played was like 1940 or something. Start of the game. Going back to here... you can take extra units not inside of your regiments, but it's going to cost you so steeply. I challenge someone live here in chat or someone after the fact to find a unit or a list that really makes this worthwhile. So you can take a random unit, not in a regiment, but if you do that, whoever has more auxiliary units, that their opponent is going to get an extra CP at the start of every single round, which is nuts. I'm really hard pressed to justify taking this under any circumstances, frankly. Certainly don't take it if it's a hero, because you just take another regiment, right? So they're kind of allowing that flexibility, but they're severely punishing it. So I don't see it being worth it. But again, I'm curious if someone can come up with a reason. And then you get 1 faction terrain. You pick one. It does count as one of your drops. You just get them. They're still free. So that is unchanged from previous editions. Enhancements, this can be a bit strange too. Basically, for each chart, you pick 1, and you can assign each of those to a non-unique, so non-named hero, and you cannot double up. So generally speaking, this will be like an artifact, a heroic trait. Generally, it's those 2. The Caradron have their boat upgrades. That is one of those, and you pick 1 from each, and you assign it to the relevant unit. So pretty simple. But I know it can be a bit weird at first. Thanks, Mr. Morden, for the super chat. I hate to impose, but would you be able to make an example Stormcast and Skaven expansion list for new AOS players buying Skaven Tide who want to expand? That would definitely be interesting. So in the second half of the stream, I want to start breaking out some lists. I frankly am going to be playing Skaven on Monday, so we can talk about what some list design might look like for that. So thank you, Mr. Morden. We'll take a look. Boop. Drew Soul says, can you take a Soul Grinder in Disciples of Tzeentch or Vortex Beast? Let's take a look. It's actually, so the points are all in this same document. So let's do some Control F. Disciples. So let's see. I don't think the Soul Grinder is here because they weren't here previously. Brimstone, Burning Chariot, Chaos Spawn, Flamers, J-Lob. No. Oh, interesting. Interesting. So the Soul Grinder doesn't surprise me. The Vortex Beast, I think it's interesting. So we can talk about allies, quote unquote. Those basically don't exist. There are regiments of renown. And these are basically little sub packages that you can ally in. And generally speaking, it'll be like some of those box sets that came out previously. So I think Belthanos is one of those. some of the weird kind of bespoke kind of side box characters. So you can have a little attachment and attach them. So Gotrek, for example, is a regiment of renown. And these are just add-ons. So allies much more limited than they were. And you just take these prepackaged things. So they're really trying to avoid that mixing. Because I know in Chaos, of course, you were able to sort of mix and match from different things as long as they had the right keywords. And that's changed from edition to edition. So right now it's much more limited. So, yeah. Let me know if... Yeah, before they were... Yeah, exactly. They were slaves to darkness that you had to ally in. So yeah, unless there's a regiment of renown, you cannot take them. And I think... Here we go. So here's the document on GW. So you guys can all pull this up here. And they've got examples. So again, these are all those kind of... Those random boxes you would see in game stores. So here's the Zinch one. Oh, this is cool. This is the 3 Warcry Beasts. You can ally in some Cruel Boys. And they say here, if your army is Destruction General, but not a Cruel Boys army, you can include this Regiment of Renown. If you do so, no other allied units can be included in your army. You can include this Regiment of Renown in your army, even though its number of units and points value exceeds the amount allowed for allied units. Cool. No one has mount traits. Oh, interesting. I didn't notice that. Sylvaneth one. Look, and that's it, actually. So I guess Gotrek isn't one. So that's regiments. It's very limited right now, and we'll see if they expand on that or not. I don't know if they need to be honest. Factions. Okay, that's it. That is how you make a list at the fundamental level. Hopefully that's helpful. Excellent. Stand up? No. They mention it with none in the game. Yeah, it's pretty strange. Cool. So that's fundamental list building. Anyone have questions before we go on to the next stuff? I want to kind of dive on in. We talked about the lores, we talked about manifestations. Yeah, all that good stuff. Cool. We can go to... Boom. Giant version. Excellent. Show us. Get out of here, just Brian. Get out of here. So would other allies fall under auxiliary? Does AOS have max 3 a single data sheet like 40k? Ooh, those are good questions. Do they? I don't think they do. It might be in the General's Handbook. Reinforced, General, unique units. Yeah, right. Oh yeah, minimum size units of 1. So if you're like a monster, you can't reinforce by default. So that will change only a couple units. Points limit, underspending. Yeah, we talked about that. Just making sure we got everything here. And then... Yeah. No, don't leave us, just Brian. No, don't leave us. Yeah, Darius is saying, yeah, no max, no max. Yeah, I haven't seen any. We'll check in on Monday when we do the game because I'll have the General's Handbook in front of me. But I don't think there's a rule of 3 thing. So that is it's interesting, especially for armies that people are down on, like Gloomspite Gifts, where I think there are a couple standouts. I hope we don't get just things spammed out, but we'll see. Elikman says, you said manifestations are always in 3s, but there are a few that more than 3, like Gloomspite and maybe other endless bundles. Oh yeah, that's true. So what I mean is, so remember there was the endless spell boxes. There was the first box that they released, and then there was the ancient omens or dark omens one, and those aren't like a whole giant lore in and of themselves like they kind of used to be. So they've generally grouped them up into pairings of 2, 3, maybe sometimes 4. And then, of course, the faction lores are just the faction lores, so you would know all of them. So Gloomspite, you would know all of them. Yeah, I think the limitation is on what heroes you take to make your regiments. Yeah, that's true. You're paying a lot to get extra regiments, so that's for sure a thing. I'm not looking forward to having to buy terrain features and all the endless spells. Yeah, so let's talk about it. The endless spells thing is like a weird thing, especially for existing Sigmar players, because generally speaking, I don't know about you, but there's a few factions in particular that I just like went on eBay and bought like the one spell that I wanted, right? I have a lot of the spells, but I've only built a couple because those were always the good ones. Like I have Purple Sun, I have Cogs, I have the portals, right? And so from a business perspective of GW, it's clearly like well, you're going to buy the box, right? You're not going to buy single models on eBay. That doesn't exist. You're going to buy the box and then want to be able to use the other 2 models in that box. So I think that's more of a business decision than it is a game decision. I think it's not the end of the world, but like that one's pretty clear. It's like I see what you did, GW. I can't really be mad, but like I see what you're doing there. And then the terrain features, unfortunately for Sigmar, have always been free and are generally speaking great. So nothing new there. You notice that for Lindsay, she's playing the pyramid that comes from Warcry because it's about the same size because we didn't have the other one. So, yeah. Malign Portents, that's the name. Yeah. Exactly. Cool. I know the Karajon Overlord players. We actually lost things. I have a little custom Skaven spell, the Warp Lightning trio, that because Karajon classically would take that and put it in a spell in a bottle. You run out, you toss it into the middle, slow your enemies, and now like I don't think that exists anymore. So I actually need less than before. So yeah. Anyways, what I want to do now is let's go ahead and build some lists. This is a place where I'm definitely going to be open to ideas and suggestions. There's a couple things I'm particularly interested in looking at, yeah, let's see what we can do. So for example, let's do Skaven because I'm gonna play Skaven on Monday. I've played several games with them, and I have a list. I don't know if it's a good list, so let's kind of go through it. So let's do this thing. So we'll go to Skaven and pull this up for y'all. Perfect. Skaven. So I have a couple goals with this list, and it's always important to start deciding like what is your goal for the list? Is it to make something that's very strong? Is it something that's just fun? Are there certain models you want to use? What is the goal? And this is, I'm going to start with the basis. There's a few models I just want to use and I just want to show for the game, for example. So with that in mind, let's take a look. I am looking forward to the GW app actually coming out. I'm sure there are going to be other versions and things coming out now that these docs are here. But lately, I frankly have just been using old-fashioned pen and paper as well as Excel. So I'm not an Excel expert. Mel could do much better here, but let's just go ahead and mock something up. So we have, let's do the name, let's do the amount, or let's do points, and then let's do amount, and let's say total. So and I'm going to try to organize these by regiments. So if we see the list here, these are all the characters that we can take, and there's a couple models that are like not negotiable for me. So I love Thanquol. Thanquol is one of the reasons I started Skaven in the first place. Technically, it's, we're all about titles here. Thanquol and Bone Rippa. We're just going to take one of them. We can see that he is 360 points, so we'll fill that in there. That is a regiment there. I know separately, I'm absolutely loving the Vermin Lord Deceiver. I think the Vermin Lords, generally speaking, are very strong, very interesting. This guy has this ridiculous ability, start of combat on a 3+, you teleport him within 13 inches. It can take you out of the current combat. And it can take you into another combat. So it makes him this just very scary assassin character. Like he's literally shadow stepping from one unit whoosh, into another one, like backstabbing someone, and he hits like an absolute truck. So I like him a lot. Plus, he's not unique, so you can add the cloak to heal him D3. So we'll talk about that. I'm kind of jumping the gun here, but let me just tell you, I really like this guy. So Vermin Lord Deceiver, 410, quite pricey, and we're gonna take one here. Then I think clan rats are fantastic. Almost all my lists start with 2 units of 20. Usually I'm running 3 units of 20. So let's put those in here for now. Clan rats. Remember, I'm trying to reduce the number of units in my general's regiment. So whichever one of these has the least amount, that'll be my general. I don't think, maybe Thanquol has a requirement for that. Let's take a look. They're not in downloads yet, are they? Death, where's Chaos? Chaos. Skaven Ratman. Let's go to, it's Hot Rat Summer, everybody. Happy Hot Rat Summer. We want to look at good old Thankful. He's actually probably literally at the top. Warmaster. Okay, so he's Warmaster here, and then the Vermin Lord I assume doesn't have anything. So Thankful will be the general. What's the one unit we're gonna put in here? I'll tell you what no, what is it? It's not Storm Fiends. It's the other type of fiends. It is Storm Fiends. Storm Vermin's the other type. Storm Fiends. And these were 190? 260. Jesus. They're very expensive. I've been having fun with them. I don't know if it's the greatest. Yeah. Someone already made an army builder with the regiments. Oh, I love it. What is that? Is that like new recruit or something? So we'll start with one. This is going to be my honor guard, right? This is going to be the thing that's like +1 to hit, +1 to wound against enemies regiment. I probably don't do the charge one. I could maybe do the defensive one, but that's going to be in here. And this is a minimum right here for this regiment. So clan rats down here. Let's take a look at what we're looking at. Clan rats cost us 160, which is very cheap for 20 models. So we'll do that here. We'll do that here. Now, I think, honestly, I'm probably going to end up moving one of these here. And I'll tell you why. There's a couple things I want to mess around with listbot. Okay, I'll check it out. There's a couple things I want to include in this list. And they have to do with the Vermin Lord. These are things I have not tested yet. So he is pretty fast. He moves 10. Again, very, very killy. 8 attacks, 3/2, 3 rend, which is nuts. 2 damage, and then crit mortals. So hits like an absolute truck. I love Eshin. And there's a couple things I want to just play with, frankly. So let's take a look at... Deathmaster. So Deathmasters we can include in a Vermin Lord Deceiver's detachment as just an not extra slot, but you can just include them. So you can have up to 1, and it's not going to cost you an extra regiment. And the reason I'm interested in the Deathmaster is, one, they're just very cool, but also... when a friendly Eshin units are wholly within 13 of this unit, they can use shoot and or charge abilities, even if they use a run ability in the same turn. And suddenly, our Vermin Lord Deceiver can run and charge. Now keep in mind, for 1 CP, you can do an auto 6 run in Sigmar, so that he's going 16 inches. I don't know if it's good, but it's definitely fun. And it really makes him a threat right away. So we're going to try that. Deathmaster 160. So he costs as much as 20 clan rats. That's something to keep in mind. Deathmaster 160. And then the other unit that I have been enjoying is the Night Runners, which are down here. They got rid of Gun Runners in the new edition. They finally killed that old kit. Yeah, it's very sad. Have they released any info on faction terrain? Yeah, so faction terrain is in... the rules are in each of these faction packs. So, for example, under Skaven, it's going to be near the end. And then points-wise, they don't cost any points. They do count as a drop, though, so that will potentially slow you down. But most people, I think, are going to have their faction terrain anyways. This is Spearhead. So here's the manifestations at the end, and then here's the Gnawholes. So, Awful Gamer, great name. That's where you can find them. Cool. It's actually just Google Sheets. Interesting. Okay. Cool. Just catching up on chat, folks. Have we talked about the Oops All Dragons list yet? Man, it's a great question. Look, Mel is working on Oops All Dragons. It's going to happen. And then Elikman answering, I think, Kanotu's question. Yeah, so they didn't put all... Yeah, again, that's what Elikman is saying. All of the Underworld's warbands appear to be legends, which sucks. Again, Gloomspite and Skaven both had really cool and fun ones that were actually compelling to take in the previous edition. Those are all gone. So we have cool models we can use, but some of the Warcry warbands did survive. For example, Hunters of Wanchi, I think, are pretty interesting in Seraphon, and then there's actually like the Fireslayer one, which is really cool. I hadn't even seen that kit. Yeah. Axshark, send me the list over Discord. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Cheers. Lots of Skaven. Yeah. Do they have rules? The faction train? Yeah. So the faction train rules are just right here. Yeah. Fine with Underworlds going to Legends. It was too much. Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to decide like why they did it. Rules bloat. Cool. I guess that's a good reason to get rid of it. Getting rid of their cross compatibility, which seems to be a GW wide thing. That's fine, I guess, except they also kept a Warcry, so it's a little bit inconsistent. So my only thing I can really think of is just to cut down rules bloat. So fair enough. Yeah, the Fireslayer Warcry warband is amazing. The models are cool, and also the rules look ridiculous. So, and then of course they just talked about the upcoming those twisted Sylvaneth ones and stuff like that. So that's pretty sweet. Anyways, back to the list. Deathmaster. Oh yeah, Night Runners. So Night Runners have an interesting ability that's going to be very meta dependent. I don't know how much shooting we'll see. That's something we'll have to find out. But they have two interesting abilities. Night Runners. Night Runners. So in the deployment phase, they can use a normal move ability as if there was movement phase. So for your 40k players, this is like a scout move. Very fun, very interesting, especially considering people could be dropping down turn 1, be very aggressive. That's nice, just nice to have them up there. And then additionally, they have sneaky infiltrators. While they're within 1 inch of any terrain features, they cannot be targeted by shooting attacks unless the attacking model is within 9 inches of it. So you can't shoot them down, which is good because they're very fragile. And then the Deathmaster, of course, will be next to them as an infantry unit, and he also can't be shot unless you're unless you're close to them. So it's a cute little package. I mean, I'm curious. I've been playing with the Night Runners and the Deceiver in a regiment, but I'd like to add the Deathmaster. So let's just add these for now and see where it takes us. Points on Night Runners. 130. Okay. So again, more expensive than the Clan Rats, obviously. Let's go ahead and get some totals here. So we're gonna say this is gonna be what, B2 times C2. Y'all can see my bad Excel skills. And then you guys can see this tab, perfect. So we'll have this one be the sum of D2 all the way to D, let's just say D20. So we're at 1640 already. Thankful and Bone Ripper. So this is our General's detachment. This is going to be our, regiment. This is going to be our Honor Guard. I really would love for this to be 2, which takes us already up to 1900, which gives us exactly 100 to play with. It's nice because it is 2 drops. This regiment is filled up. This regiment, we do have 2 more slots because it's our General's regiment. 100 points doesn't buy us a lot, but it buys us something in Skaven. So for 100 points, we can get a Rattling Gun, always fun. I think the Warp Fire Thrower, where is it? Is like 80. Doomflayer is the little melee thing. Warp Fire Thrower is 90. What else is 100 or less? Yeah, so it's these little support squads, basically, which is compelling. It's still a unit that can go ahead and do stuff. Yeah. Master, Molder, or Warp Grinder. Yeah. What do y'all think? I've been playing the Warpfire Throw, and that's been fun. I like high rend, which is awesome. It's very short range, so it's been a little difficult to deliver. And then yeah, there's nothing. Oh yeah, the Master Molder, which would be a whole nother detachment, which I don't love. He can do cute things. One thing I love, I will say this, is the Storm Fiends. As is befitting the lore, they have both the Clan Scryer and the Clan Molder keywords, so they benefit from both. Personally, I really want to get a Hell Pit Abomination because I think they are very, very interesting. And then you can get the benefits of like Molder. I think you take the Molder battle trait overall, and it becomes very, very spicy. So yeah. For Sudor, asked the question. So most likely me not understanding it correctly. Look, honestly, it's early days. I could be wrong about this too. I thought the terrain was deployed in a separate step before the rest of the army, thus not taking up drops where determining who finishes first. Great question. We can take a look. We'll take a look. Let's see. AOS is less about massive amounts of minis and more about what you are playing. So yes, Sigmar armies are smaller than 40k armies. This is a change that we especially saw last edition or halfway through last edition, where there was like a 25-30% increase in cost, so armies got smaller, which I do like. This is a very elite army, I will say. I don't know really what the right answer is for a good 4th edition army, but generally speaking, yeah, armies will be smaller. It's about certain units, things like that. This is a lot of points I have in 3 things, right? This is like a giant brick of points. This is just a giant unit that's a quarter of my army. So keep in mind, the goal of this list, just play some cool models that I wanted to play and show a couple cool abilities that I wanted to play. My Gloomspite lists are much more diverse. My Karajan lists are kind of in the middle, honestly. So yeah, Ninja Rats and some big boys. Yep, look, we can't go wrong. I think we're gonna go for Warp Fire Thrower. And maybe we could change this to a rattling gun at some point. Oh, flip those around. Okay, so we're at 1990. Let's talk about enhancements and all that stuff, because I've sort of implied some ideas that I've had that have informed decisions. But let's talk about like why I've actually done that. So this is your battle traits. You get all of these all the time when they're relevant. The knotholes are super fun. You can put one up at the start of each round, as long as you can up to 3. Your opponent can kill them, so they're popping up. Your opponent try to kill them. You can bring them in turn. You can bring them in turn 1, so that's very interesting. And then you can pop through it. And that's a fun dynamic. And then you can fall back. You can retreat without taking mortal wounds, which is cute. And of course, you do get an extra move for your non-monster Skaven units in your enemy hero phase. So lots of tricksy tricks you can do. This list is kind of strange for picking a battle formation. As I mentioned, this basically is like, what's your sub faction and who's going to benefit from it the most. There's a lot that I like here. When I run, generally I prefer to at least run 3 bricks of clan rats before I take the claw horde, but it's generally not bad. Like, clan rats have 2 attacks each, so this is 40 attacks from a bunch of clan rats. Giving them 1 rend, so your trash unit can actually kill things, is like actually kind of cute. Another thing I like about it is that you can actually control when it happens. This I don't like, unfortunately, Pestilence 1. These are both fun and can be strong, but as you can see, they're random charts. And a third of the chart, you actually just do damage to yourself, which, you know, watch last night's 40k game. But the benefits are great. For me, the Molder one, this one gives you +1 attack, which is decent, better on some units than others. The 5-up, though, gives you that and a 5-up ward, which is nuts. That's a 5-up Feel No Pain for you 40k players. And then same over here on the left, +1 to wound for shooting, +1 to wound, and +1 rend. So big benefits, but it's risky. For this build, I've been kind of trying all 3 of these. So we'll see. I haven't quite decided, but that's not really going to inform the decisions that we pick here. My go-to one right away is Foul Hide on the Vermin Lord. Because they're non-unique, and this allows you to heal D3 at the end of any turn. It's very, very, very strong. Thanquil already does this, and so you're healing at the end of your turn, at the end of your opponent's turn. It just makes them so disgusting to kill. You can also rally to heal them. It's just nasty. So I've got 2 big monsters that are a lot of points, but they're just obnoxious to kill. So I like that. And you get 1 from each of these. So I've picked my 1 artifact, which means my other one has to be from a heroic trait. Lots of good options. We can just run away, start a combat on a 3-up. Now keep in mind, this is before you fight, so you don't get to like stab and run away. This is probably best on a character that doesn't want to get caught out. So you could put it on your big Vermin Lord, you could put it on your Death Master, whatever. It's fine. +1 run and charge, just generically strong. That's cool. And then Skilled Manipulator, this gives the model a 4-up ward, and every time you fail a ward, you instead just do a wound to a nearby infantry squad. I'm sorely tempted to take this and put this on the Death Master, because he actually hits decently hard, he's just fragile. So I love the idea of him being able to wade in next to a bunch of clan rats and just be super tanky. So I think I would probably try that. Battle formations are like 40k's detachments. Picks one of the 4 upon list creations. Yeah, exactly. It's like a detachment. Yeah, good question, good answer. I find it weird that Molder is worse than Scryer. Maybe it's because Molder doesn't blow itself up normally. Yeah. Is it worse? The 5-up Feel No Pain is pretty spicy dicey. I also saw a suggestion on converting a Hell Pit. Someone said that. I'm missing it. Hello, Moeli. Welcome to the chat. Hopefully everyone's having a great one. We are working on Sigmar lists. We're talking about list creation. We're messing with ideas and just having a good time. Awesome. Cool. Indecision says they're working on a Verminous list. Clan Rats at round 1 with auto wound seems really great when you have 60 to 80 of them for only 480 or 640 points. 100% agree. Just like we were just saying before. Absolutely. Oh, Molder damages itself twice. Yeah. And I don't love the basic Rat Ogres have the like rage where they deal wounds to themselves, and then like they don't have enough wounds to justify that. I think it's a little too harsh. Like they should almost have a ward inbuilt, in my opinion. So we picked that. We picked that. The spell lore again is just like you pick this and all your wizards are going to know this. Yeah, they're good. So this is a teleport. This is a fight last, which is very strong. The prayers I do like. I'm sad I don't have any prayers in this list, but there's only so many things you can do. And then you have the 3 manifestations, so you're just going to know all the Skaven ones all the time. The Vermintide I don't love. It's just a little dummy unit that heals. The Bell is cool. It's -1 to wound for your infantry when they're nearby. Keep in mind, the dang Storm Fiends, the giant rats with machine guns, are infantry. So I like this a lot. Put it somewhere where your opponent can't just see it and shoot it. They can still dispel it. And then the Warp Lightning Vortex slows enemies. It's a bit tough to use, but it's still pretty strong. So generally speaking, I'll try to summon Bell first, Lightning Vortex next, and then the Vermintide if I have an extra cast, which I won't. Why don't I like Jezzails? Yeah, I think I did say some unkind words about Jezzails in a previous stream. I think they can be interesting actually if you build around them. But they just I don't love them as just a standalone unit. So I'll amend my previous comments. Anyways, so that's Skaven. That is a list. Any questions? I'm probably just gonna go work on another list. Otherwise, yeah, lots of Wizard 1. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think Thanquil is as great as ever. His shooting is severely diminished, but he fights, he's very tough, and he's a level 2 wizard with +1 to cast, which is, as you mentioned, hard to come by. So he is a wizard, and the Vermin Lord Deceiver is also a wizard. So I'm into that. Yeah. Stormcast for noobs would be appreciated. I think we can do that. Let's take a look. So this is going to be kind of a first look. I don't know Stormcast super well. If Mel isn't still in chat, this will be good for her too, because she's just starting to pick them up right now. So let's take a look at Stormcast. Bow, 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 bow. Stormcast. So when did they release the Order one? Oh, that was the first one. Okay, cool. Awesome. What is Doc Mel? Yeah, let's build Mel's Dragon list. Let's do it. All right, folks. Welcome to the poster children of Sigmar. And I will say, kind of like Space Marines, they get a bad rep, because these models are dope. The new models are incredible. The old models are incredible. It's just a really awesome faction. So let's take a look. We're going to build an Oops All Dragon list. Let's take a look at the battle traits first. No, I want to look at the basic dragon profile. We want to see a couple keywords and get a sense for what are we trying to build around. So we know in this case the goal of the list is dragons. I'll add in a couple things in terms of like the models that we have here personally, and that will also inform, a lot of the time when people are building lists, they're building from their existing collections. So we have 8 of the small dragons. So some of those could be characters. We have Krondis, son of Dracothion. We have the Star Drake, Lord on Star Drake, and we have 4 concussors on whatever those derp dragons are. So that's that. Oh, and then we have Ionis Cryptborn as well. We're not opposed to buying extra models, but we're kind of keeping in the back of our mind, like, this is what we have, This hobby is expensive enough without just buying everything brand new. So let's take a look. I thought dragons were elves. Yeah, it's a bit different. Things have changed a bit from Total War 3, Mr. Mortem. Stormcast did get dragons last edition, and this is one of the new ordos. The ordos basically are the chambers, sorry. The chambers are kind of like Space Marine chapters, basically, and they're kind of themed towards certain things. We're in Spearhead now. So one of them is themed towards dragons. For example, concussors, the derp dragons, you can see here, Order Stormcast Eternals Extremist Chamber. An Extremist Chamber is the dragon chamber. Thank you, Richard C., for the super chat. I have 2 Flesh Eater Core Spearhead boxes. What would add to that to round out the army? Mostly looking to add cool-looking models. Well, I mean, look, you've got the Spearhead boxes. You've got to add Usharon, obviously. So he's cool. I don't think it comes with the Judge. Let me see. Flesh Eater Quartz. Spearhead. Might be still Vanguard. No, it's Spearhead. Cool. If I bring this over, will you guys see it? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, this is cool. I think you're going to want some more Crypt Ghouls. Definitely Usharon. And then probably a character. I haven't looked enough to know, like, does this faction want things like the Terrorgeist, or does it want more like little support characters and hordes? So I'm a little uncertain, but for sure Usharon, and then I think at least one of those support characters. This is one of my upcoming hobby projects as well. So we will join you on that and keep you informed. All right, cool. So we need dragons. Dragons. Hopefully this is helpful, chat. I'm enjoying it. Cool. Gore Warden. Besties with the Knight. Okay, there you go. Colby Bastion asks, is the 4th edition rulebook available like 40k, or will I need to buy at least it to play? It is, you can get the rules totally free on the site. Let me put a link in chat. So if you go to Warhammer Community and go to Downloads and then go to Age of Sigmar, they have everything here. This one that says Rules, Terrain, and Glossary, this is the core rules. Very helpful. Okay, cool. I appreciate that, gamer guy. Yeah, core rules are free there. The General's Handbook will be like the main other thing I think that you'll want. And then everything else is kind of scattered around, but is free. It appears to be generally free, which is cool. So it's almost time for Dragon Tales, folks. I want to look at just the normal dragons. What are they called? Drakesworn. No. Is it Drakesworn Templar? No, that's the big dragon dude. Nope. And then we're in Spearhead. Dragons! Actually, you know what? We have the information we need, right? We needed to know that it was Extremist Chamber. You can see here the Star Drake, also Extremist Chamber. So that's that. Let's take a look at the battle traits and stuff. So again, just kind of assuming no knowledge. I'll go slower, Willow. I'm just excited. Okay. So battle traits. Celestial Realm. So this basically allows you to put a unit in Deep Strike, again, for our 40k audience. That's cool. and you can't, all this text basically says you can't have more up in the skies than you have down on the battlefield. Over here, this is the rules on how you come down. It's in your movement phase. Interesting thing, this is not actually this does not have the core keyword ability. This means that you can do this and you can perform a move in the turn. So in each phase, you can do as many abilities as you want, but if it's a core ability, a unit can only do one core ability per turn. So for example, this is in the deployment phase, and it has, no, that doesn't have core keywords. So bad example. There are abilities that will be core, so you can't like place a unit and also move it in the same turn. But this one allows you to do that, so that's great. Once per battle for a CP in your movement phase, you can pick a non-unique Stormcast Eternals infantry or cavalry that started the battle with 2 or more models that has been destroyed to be the target. And you set up a replacement model with half the number of models, rounding up more than 9 from enemy units. So it's a replacement unit, deep striking in at half the size. Very cool. I like it. I love it. Jermaine says you can never move after being set up. That's in the core rules. No! Is this true? And then once per turn, your hero phase, finest hour, which is a rule from last edition. Pick a friendly Stormcast Eternals unit that has not to use this ability this battle to use this ability. So once per game. For the rest of the turn, you add 1 to wound rules for their combat attacks and 1 to save rules for that unit. That's very, very cool. So every single turn, someone's gonna be a hero. That's awesome. Cool. So that gives us a sense for the basics. People are confirming. Yep. Sorry. Yeah, if you get a page number, that'd be great. I don't doubt you guys, but I just want to be able. I'm learning as well, so I want to be able to refer to that in the future. So deep strike, it's gonna be a 9-inch charge then. Cool. Battle formations. My guess is these are all these are basically tied to different chambers. So we have Ruination Chamber, Warrior Chamber, Extremes Chamber, Vanguard Chamber. And again, since we're kind of thinking about Stormcast players in general, Extremis is dragons. Warrior is classic. So a lot of the starter box, both from this edition and last edition, are Warrior Chamber. So I'd consider doing that. Vanguard is the kind of scout units. They have lots of they have a bird sub theme, which is awesome. And kind of movement based, more lightly armored units. And then Ruination is spells and spellcasters. This is at least a couple of the new models are in Ruination. There might be some more. And you can see 5 up board for rest of the turn, once per battle is pretty. Once per turn, hero phase, Ruination Chamber, 5 up board the rest of the turn. That's pretty sweet. But again, limited number of units. Special rules 24.0. Perfect. Thank you. Thanks, folks. We appreciate it. So obviously we're playing dragons, so we're most interested in this oncoming storm. You do this once per turn in any combat phase. You roll the dice on a 3+. This unit has the strike first for the rest of the turn. Very strong. Now it only happens on a 3+, so you never want to count on it yourself. But what this means is it makes your opponent really think twice about charging you, because they can charge you. It's their turn, so they'll get the first activation in terms of fighting. But on a 3+, you flip it on your head, and you get to fight first with all your strikes first. Very, very interesting, very strong. So we've got that. We'll come back to heroic traits and artifacts. I think we just start building out our list. We know, generally speaking, what we want to do. Let's go to the points section and see what we have. Stormcast. Here we are. Main section. Oh, Sacrosanct was the magic chamber. Ruination Chamber is veterans who are on the edge of completely losing their humanity. Amazing. That sounds so cool. Oh, so cool. What's up, G Zealot? Was just messing around with this on an Excel sheet yesterday. Yes, that's where we're all at. There's apparently some fancier Excel sheets out there right now. Yeah, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting the app. All right, so let's take a look. Again, big book. You can see here. Oh, this is the second. Jesus. This is all Stormcast. Okay. So Stormcast, red, blue. And then, okay, wow, this is a lot of profiles. Let's look at the basic dragons. Can someone help me with the name of them? Dracothian Guard? Is that what they are? Dracothian Guard. No, that's the little foot dudes. The name of the new flying dragons. Stormdrake Guard? Stormdrake Guard. Thank you, folks. Stormdrake Guard. Okay, perfect. So, good. This is good. I was concerned because remember, folks, you cannot reinforce units of 1. And I was curious to see if that would actually be an issue for these guys. But you can see they have 2 different layouts. You can take a squad of 2. You can take a squad of 1. The squad of 2 is interesting. Can you bring these units back with that Stormcast ability? Or is it like infantry only or something? Yeah, infantry. Infantry or cavalry. They are not infantry and they are probably not cavalry. But let's take a look at the profile. Stormdrake. Stormdrake. 3 or more. Boop, boop, boop. I just want to pull up the profile. Why is this not searching for it? Half of it going to Legends. Yeah, so yeah, do take note, folks. When you look at the points here, they have a note on the right. All this stuff is Legends. So there's a lot that's going to be disappearing in, what is this, a year, basically. So, you know, think twice before you buy some of these. Yeah, that's the way it goes. Extremist Chamber. Yeah, let's try that. Now it's just not pulling up anything. Okay, there's that one. That one. Drake Sworn Templar. Lord Celestant. Concussors. Desolators. Fulminators. Tempesters. Oh, I forgot about these dragons. These are cool. Stormdrake Guard. We got there. Perfect. So let's take a look. What do these guys do? It is not actually an actually searchable. Is it? This is a highly questionable document. This appears to be text. I don't know why I didn't pick up Stormdrake. It's really funny. Anyways, so let's start filling this out. I'm gonna go ahead and make another sheet. So this one was Skaven, and let's just duplicate this. And this one will be Stormcast. And I want to keep our formatting and our, you know, equations and all that stuff. So we'll just go here. So Stormdrake Guard, we know we're going to have that at least in a regiment. They are, let's start with units of 2, so 360. Because we want to try to reduce those drops if we can, right? So a unit of 2. A unit of 2. Okay. Perfect. Acrobat didn't pay for the GW fonts. It's text, but individual letters in some place. Oh my god. That's amazing. Oh, James, what's wrong with you? All right, let's take a look. So they have coherency range of 2, which is good. Normally, so coherency is a 1/2 inch in Sigmar, which is like basically just be base to base to play it safe. I'm still getting the hang of that. They have the passive, which is the same extremist chamber abilities that they all have. If you roll a save roll of 6 in combat, then you pop and you bounce a mortal damage back onto the enemy, which is cool. And they have Draconic Assault once per turn in any combat phase. If they charged, you can roll the dice. And on a 3+, they can move 2d6. You can pass through combat range of enemy units and can end that movement in combat. Then you pick an enemy unit that they passed across, and you do d3 mortal damage on that enemy unit. It's cool. 2d6 can be tough because these guys do have big bases, keep in mind. But it's a cute ability, and you can use it to like get away from other people attacking you, get into, this ability can be very strong. And I'll talk about Gloomspite Gits again because it's my favorite army and people are down on them. Mangler Squigs, yes, we're sad that they have almost no rend, but their bounce ability makes them very interesting for sniping out heroes that want to stay just behind a unit. I want to stay protected because you can charge into the main brick and then bounce into the character, kill the character, hopefully, and remove them. So this isn't reliable. This is on a 3+. So it's not something you can count on, but when it pops off, it's nice. And hopefully you can at least do some mortal wounds. So it's cute, and it is a monstrous rampage. You can see that down here. Those from the previous edition, there's no like generics. It's just an ability that monsters have on their sheet. So yeah. The new AOS is the 2nd edition, right? This is 4th edition technically. Yeah. What's up? Let's see. Page 13. Yeah, no worries, Jermaine. Appreciate it. Yeah, section 24.0. Appreciate it. Okay. See some discussions around Edeneth. Love it. Can you double back during the move and still count as passed over, even if you end over the same spot? I was just thinking about that, Marquinius. To my knowledge, yes. But that's definitely something that would be in a random rules document. I don't think they ever got rid of that in Sigmar, but maybe someone in chat knows if they've seen it. Yeah. Were Skaven a thing in previous editions of AOS? So Skaven were weird. Skaven have always been Sigmar, but they have not been well supported. They've had rules. I really liked the last Skaven book. It wasn't the strongest. But they've never... Well, the only new models they've received have been those Underworld models. So they've never really got like a new Sigmar line. So that's why this edition was like, okay, Skaven are like fully in here. We've had Sigmar for several years now. We've never really done Skaven in Sigmar. So that's kind of the history behind them. Yeah. When is the new list app coming out? I don't have a definitive date. I think it's soon. It might be as soon as next week, but I don't have a date for you, unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah, very much neglected. All right, cool. So anyways, all this just to say, here's a Stormdrake guard. I really would like to see the Stormdrake character. God, this document is so unwieldy. There's just so many characters. Like, now I need to find the Stormdrake character. Let's grab his name real quick. That'll be the easiest. Knight Draconis. Okay. Thanks, Willow. Thanks, Alec Man. Will it search? It's thinking. Nope. I'm sure there's only a couple things with knight in the name, right? So bad. James, you drive me crazy. Can you run dragons if you don't want to do the dragon specific detachment? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's nothing the only restrictions are based off of what characters you take. So for example, if you take Andrasta, you can take any Stormcast Eternals in her regiment. So you can still take 1 or 2 dragons instead. You drive me crazy. Oh my god. I assume that's a song, Mel. Knight Draconis. Here we go. So what does this guy give us? He gives us, once per turn, any combat phase, Wrath of the Draconith, pick a friendly Stormdrake guard unit within this unit's combat range, so within 3 inches. Roll a dice on a 2+, add 1 to the attacks characteristic of both this unit and the target unit's Draconic Fanes and Talents for the rest of the turn. Cool. So it helps the mounts. Extreme Chamber, same unit as before. Reaction move, opponent declared a spell ability. Yeah, they've always had like a spell immunity kind of thing. If this or a friendly Stormdrake guard unit wholly within 12 was picked to be the target of a spell, you roll dice on a 4+, you ignore the spell. Cool, awesome, I love it. Yeah, it's good. Like I feel like I probably want to take one of these. Yeah. Behemoth's list without King Brody. Also thoughts on Kragnos. Great questions, Kaldar. Appreciate it. Dude, King Broad is so good. He's so good. That's why you want to list without him. We'll see what we can do. Thoughts on Kragnos? I want to try Kragnos. We need to get one in the studio because the one we had before was Zach, so he gets to play with that one now. I'm Kragnos curious. I think he's very interesting. I haven't tried him yet though. Cool. I just have him. Yeah, that's fair. So I'm going to put him down here because I'll tell you we're going to have a War Master in this list. I just know that. Knight. Draconis? What was the name? Points. So yeah, 280, and you can see this guy can take any extremist chamber. Perfect. So 280. We want one of him. And then we'll cut to the chase on the War Master. This is Ionis Cryptborn. Ionis. Here he is. Warden of Lost Souls, 420 points. You can have up to one Stormcast Exemplar, and you can have any Stormcast Eternals because he is a War Master large lad. So this will have to be our General's Regiment, 420. Which means, again, ideally we take this and we put it in a different regiment. We broke the reference. And this would be our Honor Guard, and this we don't worry about. Can you... I'm not saying you should, but can you reinforce Stormdrake Guard? They're not units of one. Stormdrake Guard. You can? That's a bad idea, right? If you don't like Knight Draconis, do you see my early recommendations for 4 concussors? Oh, no, I missed that. Okay, that could be interesting, honestly. Sounds like Mel's getting a new dragon. Hey, all these dragons we have. Mel, do you want more small dragons or you want some big dragons? This is 2, 4. I feel like you want more small dragons too. So this is 6 small dragons plus 1 small dragon character, and we're already over points. Okay. You need 3 to use reinforce. Oh, okay. Thank you. Big chonky boys. So let's see. So if we cut this list fills up very quickly. I don't even know if we have points for another big boy. How do we want to prioritize this? And you honestly might. Would you split these up? I think that's going to take some testing. We have space in these regiments. Unit of 4 awesome dragons. Sounds awesome. It does seem awesome. If you don't have at least some Dracothian Guard, you're just leaving rules on the table. Okay, well let's take a look. I should close some of these tabs. What do Dracothian Guard do that makes them so compelling? And then also concussors. We've heard arguments for both. Oh yeah, Vandus. So cool. You want big derp dragon, Mo? Krondus is so cool. Funny enough though, so he's not actually what's the word? He's not Extremist Chamber, but he is just a really fun wizard. Give Steam Box a call. Turn Adrian into a chunky dragon. Yeah, let's get yoked. It's not what Dracothian Guard do, it's because you can revive them with the command ability. Interesting. Right, so they're cavalry then. Okay. That's cool. How do you feel about these models though, Mel? Concussors. Control 2, dragon. Yeah, this is extremist keyword. Turn off command abilities on 3+. That's cool. I like that. Lightning Hammer, 3 attacks, crit mortals with 1 rend. It's pretty good. He's so dumb looking. Oh my god. Oh my god. Fulminators. 5 health. Impaling strike. Mortal wounds on the charge. Extremist chamber. 3. Okay. Ooh, +1 damage. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Him and Canis would be friends. Yeah. I know. They're so derpy. Oh, I didn't take the points out of the general's regiment. Oh, you're correct. Ooh, we got some points here. Here, let's just redo this here. Okay. So again, this is 2, 4, 6 Stormdrake Guard. That puts us at 1780. And then let's look at the points for these other ones that we're talking about. So like Fulminators, which are the cavalry with +1 damage. This document has to be searchable, surely. They're 120 each. It's a big investment still. There's so much. What's up, Nurgle Matthew? Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Yeah. You should be able to reinforce. Okay. Cool, yeah. I don't know. This is the challenge with 1 Sigmar list, but 2 Slam Sector. We're working on Oops All Dragons. With Sigmar, obviously you have big chunks of points you're throwing around, and when we're doing Oops All Dragons, we're really throwing big chunks of points around. So yeah, 230 for 2. Yeah. Do we like that? So this is Fulminators. 230 for a unit of 2. 210 puts us just over. Do we like the Knight Draconis? I wasn't super impressed by that. For 280 points, I feel like we can get something better. Krondys was... I love Krondys. Son of Dracothion. There's Karazai. There he is. 540. So lots and lots of points. You wanted to reinforce the Fulminators. Yeah, so if we wanted to take advantage of the rezzing... Yeah, Willa doesn't love it. If you want to take advantage of the rezzing, you'd want a bigger squad. But then I think we're getting a little bit away from... Mel really likes the flying big dragons. Yeah. 540. 540 is a lot. Like a lot. He is good, though. If we dropped the Fulminators... We drop the Knight Draconis. We need a character. So if we said Krondys at 540. Ah, God, it's so difficult. Are these guys 180 for 1? Are they really dragons if they don't fly? I mean, look, you're not wrong. How are we going to cut these points down? I assume Karazai, he's... Oh, Polychrome coming in from the top rope. Karazai, yeah, 500, which would be the list right on the nose. Let's check out Karazai, a.k.a. Scar. Karazai. Okay. 20 health, 5 control, move 12, save 3+. Oh, you know what we need to check? We need to make sure he actually, like what does he give us in this regiment? Karazai, any Stormcast. Okay, cool. Yeah, he's a big daddy. Beautiful. He's a War Master. Can you have more than one War Master? So he gets enraged as he takes damage, which is super fun. Annihilating Jaws, Blazing Tempest. I mean, look, this is very Mel to me. This is run in and kill things. I think it's fun. Yeah, you can. Okay, cool. Perfect. Thank you, folks. Yeah, one of them has to be the general. Okay, cool, perfect. Look, I think we did it. We made literally the perfect Stormcast list. So everyone, write this date down. It's done. Obviously, there's lots of things you can play with, but this is kind of an example of walking through that list. Let's just take a look at the enhancements real quick, decide what we want to take, and then I think we'll start wrapping up for the day. So we talked about that. Heroic traits. So this can go on to... Oh, we have 2 named characters now. So that's what we lost. Are we back? Could be. Excellent. What is up, everybody? Mel tells me I am back. Hey, yo. Yeah, well, that's crazy. That's never happened. Excellent. We're back, folks. Thank you so much for rejoining us. Thank you. Of course, today. That was the thing. Yeah, the internet couldn't handle it. It was just too much dragon goodness. We were just about to... We're looking at the heroic traits. Yeah, so we lost out on ability to give a 5-up ward if you lost a unit. We lost the ability to give -1 to hit if they're set up in deep strike, 3 to control score, artifact power. Yeah, I don't think we lost anything massive. Like, you'd want to take a big character to benefit from these. So that's the worst thing that we lost. Cool. Move this thing out of the way. Excellent. Well, there we have it, folks. The perfect Sigmar list. Everyone can retire. We will see you in 5th edition. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Amazing. So any final questions before we close out? I'll kind of give some closing remarks. List creation is a lot of fun. It's a lot of tweaking and modifying things. Personally, one of the things that I'm trying to determine right now is how many, what is the value of lower drops in regiments? What is the value of having more characters? And that kind of depends on faction. And then just generally speaking with units, do we want a couple big elite units? Do we want lots of small units? These are questions that I don't have answers to just yet, but we're going to continue to be playing and testing out and trying different things. How many little gargants? I think honestly you could run... The little gargants are quite good. They're quite good. You could run 6 easily, I think, and feel very solid about it. The gargants in general seem very strong. Their ability to charge in your opponent's turn and then power through is just absurd. I'm not gonna say they're gonna be a problem because I'm gonna sound like Bridger, who, by the way, thinks they'll be a problem. But they, of course, are another skew. Just beat the living life out of someone and take their home objective. So. But I think you can certainly get play with a bunch of them. So, yeah. Early days, but are there any armies that you think will be problematically powerful? It says, it's me, Seppi. Great question. Yeah, I think it's still a little bit early for me to tell, personally. Yeah, I think it's still too early to say. I wouldn't have any informed opinion about that just yet. So give us a few more games to play through and try stuff, and of course, I'm going to be talking with others as we all start playing. Yeah. Are you sure you want to leave rules on the table like that? Seems woefully inefficient. You do want to be careful when you're leaving rules out, but I think it could totally fine. And maybe you swap out for an unnamed character so you get some of those abilities. Yeah, Lord Skeleton on Star Drake would be a potential swap for Karazai, for example. And then you can take that. So I like that. How does the hero to regiment ratio feel as an initial gut check? I think it feels bad for some armies, but overall I found it to be okay. So again, most of my lists have been Gloomspite, Skaven, Caradron, and of course working a lot with like Sylvaneth and Seraphon, because we've been playing a bunch of games, the three of us. It feels like the War Masters have a ton of flexibility, but then there's also this dynamic of like, how many units do you want in your general's regiment? How many do you not? Like, and that's where we have disagreements in the studio as well. You know, Bridger is very bullish on more regiments and like nothing in the general's regiment, and I personally really highly value low drops, so that's definitely a point of contention. So Lumineth seem cool, seem fun. I think they're going to be more fun to play than before, play against, which I know Lumineth have been a faction that can enrage people in the past because of like mortals shooting out of line of sight and kind of making things hard to interact with. But I think just generally speaking, the game by default is just more interactive. So that's going to be a much more fun experience to play with. So, hey, welcome back, Just Brian. Do you go first with less drops or have the choice? You get the choice. You can choose who goes first or second. So it's always better to finish first in terms of that, right? Good question. So excited to get Cruel Boys on the table. Slam Sector says, yes. I love the changes to Cruel Boys. I played one game against them with Brian, and I was playing my Skaven with a similar kind of list, and I like had tabled him. But it was a ridiculously close game because of the tricks. He's just popping in and out of terrain, appearing in different parts of the board, and I just couldn't quite catch him, and he was fulfilling all his battle tactics. So it was like really cool to see that they've moved away from the shoot people with mortal wounds and an uninteractive blob, and moved into they have tricksy tricks and traps, which is what they always should have been. So that's very cool. Is the I Am Groot list still viable? If you're referring to, I don't know. I think Carnots are great. I think Tree Lords are less great. But Carnots and the Beatles and their respective characters and Lady of Vines, I think are all interesting. I think Dryads are not bad because they're pretty cheap and they're pretty tough. This is the best you can hope for. Yeah. Do not become addicted to sleep. Yeah, new dirty tricks are awesome. Cool. Yeah, let's see. Aria's asking for that list builder. I should have a link in Discord now. Let's take a look. Okay, perfect. So again, have not tried this list building tool. This isn't an endorsement, so obviously be careful with links on the internet, but here's a link to a thing. Perfect. All Tree Lords endure through. Yeah, I'm skeptical. XR11, Melissa. I think Durthu could be interesting, but some of the Tree Lords have been kind of lacking in our games thus far. Yeah. Seems like Bolt Boys are out, Gut Rippers and Monster Killers are in. 100%. Gut Rippers are very, very interesting. So there isn't micro optimizations, just big decisions. Yep, very true. Cool, folks. Well, with that, we're going to be closing on out. Of course, tomorrow we have a 40k stream. I'm going to be playing against Bridger. It's going to be Necrons versus when I'm playing Tau, which is going to be a ton of fun. And join us on Monday for Mundigmar. We're going to be doing our next game of Age of Sigmar. I will be playing Skaven, very likely the list that we just made today, against Lindsay and the Seraphon, back at it again. I think she wanted to change up some things about her list and try some different things. It's going to be a ton of fun. So join us for that. And honestly, just thanks for showing up. We're very excited about Sigmar. Again, the only reason I'm here today is just because I can't get enough of it. So thanks for hanging out with me, thinking through the process of making lists with Sigmar. Let us know in the comments below if you want to see more Age of Sigmar content and all that good stuff. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate the love and support. We'll catch you next time on the tabletop. Bye. Oh, that's not in screen. Bye.